Or Chapter 3, Modifying Commands Part 1. Different methods: select object, selecting, cycle with erase object, move with the object band, rotate, select, scale object, appearance, sketch, stretch, length, and joining object, key with the grip, then for editing. How to select with the object with the Autocad. Order you with any of the modification commands to discover the chapter you have with the desired object. First off, step the one you have with any of the following modifying commands. The following prompt will appear. Select the object with the cursor with the object with the pick box. In this prompt, you can work with it without taking any of the keyboard, keying type, viewing the letters, activate with a certain mode without typing any of the letter. Can do the following things. Select the object, clicking them, you with the pick one by one box. Select with any of the object, clicking them, move to the right. Start with the window mode with selecting all the objects containing fully inside of the window. While selecting any of the object, clicking and move to the left. Start with the crossing mode, which will select the object containing fully inside of the crossing. Touch and cross by with the following two types of example. Window example, and then cursor will follow the small rectangle circle inside all objects. Will select the example, the big circle with the diagonal box and Y, because they are not fully constrained inside of the window. If the cursor with a small rectangle crossing with the general green circle, also objects will be selected, except for the two diagonal left and along with the arc and circle with the Y, because they were neither constrained nor crossed. Another way to select the object prompt is to type the few letters to activate the certain mode of the letters are. Window mode, or W with the type of the W will switch with the selection of the mode to window, with which will be available whether they go to right to left with the crossing mode. A command with the type C with the switching selecting mode with the crossing, which will be available when you go to the right or left. And window polygon mode WP will be the non-rectangular window with specifying with the points at any of the fashion with the with the WP window polygon mode. Pressing enter, following prompts will appear. First polygon point, end point line, and end point line, or end or undo. Press enter to end the window polygon mode. Window polygon mode is just like window. It needs to contain an object fully in order to select it. Click the following example. Only 4 circles will be selected, which probably contain the window polygon mode. Cross polygon mode. Since window and window polygon, certainly there's a cross and cross polygon. Crossing polygon just looks as a window polygon, which specifies the non-rectangular shape contained with the cross object. Check with the following illustration. These circles will be selected with the following contained with the inside of the cross polygon, and 3 or more selected with the because they are crossed by with the cross polygon. Last low selection, you can either combine with the window polygon or cross polygon modes without typing any of the whatever. Pick up the box, just click and hold. You have the right, go to the right. You have the window polygon. If you go to the left, they have cross polygon in the regular shape, just like with the example below. Fence mode. Fence mode will select with the multiple objects crossing with it, or by touching with them. Line in a fence mode can cross each of the other contrary of the window window mode and crossing mode. The following examples. All the circles are selected because they touch the fence, and the vertical line over the right will be selected as well. As you can see, the fence lines are crossed, which over the 100% of the acceptable in Autocad. Last and previous to all modes. Further, you can select the object following mode. Last to select with the last object drawn. P for the select with the last selected object. And all to select all object for the drawing. To note to desired object to hold the shift the keyboard. Click these objects while they are in this mode. You can use the window or crossing start selection window in one part of the drawing, then pan and zoom with another part while keeping selection of the off-screen objects. Through one other method of selecting object with the 2 ways of modifying commands, either the issue of the command with the select of the object, select with the object with the issue of the command, the technique, either the call with the non-verb technique. Without issuing with any of the command, you can have it select with the object with the clicking, and select with the empty space to go to the right of the window, select with the left to go to the crossing mode, select with the W with the window polygon mode, click an empty space with the type C with the crossing polygon mode, and click empty space with the type of the F events mode. With while selecting objects, you can go to home and it's located with the modify pane with the issue with the derivative command. You right click with the get to the shortcut menu contains the 5 modifying commands: erase, move, with copy, selection, scale, and rotate is shown below. By default, the noun verb is working, but if you want to know how the control to do with the following steps, go to the application menu, select the options, choose the selection tab, use the selection mode, make sure the non-verb verb selection is on. Selection mode with the non-verb selection. Non-verb selection, shift and add selection object grouping associated with implied windowing. Use the part as well with the following: turn on all, allow press for the drag option with the level to create the window with the crossing A, then if the cursor with the over the clean spot with the picking with the window select for the method thanks for the both automatic detection is selected. So with the when you click the release of the mouse, if the click and the drag, either method will be selected. Selecting cycling. While after drafting using Autocad, with you the unintentional draft the objects for the other over each other, you may click with the objects even the point with the shareable with the by other objects. This is you the spot bottom in the past, but not anymore. Autocad provides us with a selecting cycle. If you want to notify us with a click touch more than one object, then you will give it the ability to pick the desired one. To activate the selecting cycle by default that is active, going to drafting settings dialog, which you would use the snap grid and O-snap, select with the last table selecting cycling is shown below. After activating it, you will click on one object, and you may see the following. A small window to tell you that there's two possible objects with a click position, a circle and a hash. If the circle is now selected with the view of the window, if the move of the mouse for the hash will go to the following picture. The erase command will delete any of the objects you select with the issue with the command. Go to the Home tab, modify panel, with select with the erase button. You see the following prompt with the command window. Select the object with the one-by-one method. You can see with the cursor changes to the following shape. Select with the object. Select with the desired object. Select object prompt with the repetitive. So always need to end by pressing enter or right click. You can erase the using other method. Click on the desired object. Then click delete and the key with the keyboard. Desired object. Right click with the erase with the shortcut menu. And then there's practice. The move command will move the object one place with another and drawing with the issue with the command with the go to the Home tab, modify panel with the insert with the move button. The following prompt will showing you with the specify with the object base point with the displacement. So this is like second point, you with the first point, but as a displacement the first set of the selected object. Then you should just show with the base point. The base point with the point with the reference of the object. It will move the distance of the angle of the object will file with the main object with the base point is accuracy. With the after you select the base point with the cursor shape of the will change the object. Will change the following. Last prompt you will be specify the second point with the destination with your movement is nudge functionality. Functionality is very simple to engage with the make an orthographic move with the selected object. All it allows you to have with the selected object control the control key, add the keyboard, and use the four arrows of the keyboard. You will see the object move toward the desired direction. Practice moving objects. Some copy command. The command will copy the object for the issue with the command. Go to the Home tab, locate, modify panel, select with the copy button. You'll see the following parameters. Select object with the current set with the copy mode. Multiple. Select base point with the displacement mode. Displacement. Second point array. The first point with the displacement. Second point array exit or undo. Second point array exit undo. After you select the desired object, the Autocad will report with the current mode, which in our case is multiple with the mode, and the user will be able to create several copies of the same command with the other. Single copy with the first prompt will ask you to specify with the base point with the Autocad, then will ask you to specify with the second point to complete with a single point copy process, then repeats the prompt to create another one, and so on. There are other three options. You can use undo to undo the last copy, and exit to end of the command, array to create with the array with the same object, even the distance angle, select the array option. You will see the following points. Enter with the number of items to array, specify the second point and fit. Input the number of items within the array and include the original object, specify the distance between the object. The user can use the fit option, specify the total distance of the Autocad will equally divide by the distance over the number of objects. If you select the base point with the cursor shape, will change the following. Practice 3 copying objects. Alright, the rotate command. With this command with the rotate object with the round with the base point, you with the rotation angle with the reference of the issue with the command with the go to Home tab, locate with the modify panel, select with the rotate button. You'll see with the following prompt with the current positive the angle with the UCF with the angle of the direction counterclockwise angle of the base, then select the object, select the object save, survive the base object point, select the rotation angle with the copy the reference of the 0. First measure of the tail you have with the current angle with the direction angle base with the value with the base point with the rotation point, all selected object with the rotation and in it. You with the copy option, then make it a copy, select the object, then rotate them. After you select the base point with the cursor shape will change with the following. Reference option of the option helpful if you do not know with the rotation angle, but instead you can specify the 2 points that indicate with the current angle with the 2 point with the input with the new angle that you will see the following prompts. Specify the reference angle, specify the second point with the select the new angle and the positions of the point. You can input the angle and the type of the if you want with the input the angle of the 2 points for the first point, but you will pick for the both angle with the current and with the new with the check of the following illustration. Current angle point 1, point 2, current point 3, new angle. Or your scale command. This command will create a bigger and smaller object with the scale factor with the reference issue with the command with the go to Home tab with the modify the thing, select with the scale button. You see with the following prompt with the specify with the select with the object, specify the main point, select the scale factor for the copy to reference 1.1 1.0 with a base point here with a scaling point with all selected objects will be bigger than small relative to the U of the copy up, but then make with the copy of the selected object, but then scale them. As you select with the base point with the cursor shape of the will change the following. Reference option. The option with the very handy if you don't know how to scale with the after you scale with the base point with the cursor show will change the following. Reference out with the option very handy if you do not know the scaling factor for the number instead of the construct of the 2 points with the indicate with the current length with the 2 points with the input with the new length. You will see the following prompts. Specify the reference length with it 1 inch and specify the second point with the next reference at 1 inch. You can put a length with the type length by typing if you want with the input length with using the 2 points for the first point. You will pick what will be the both lengths and then the current over the new and check with the following illustration. Point 1, point 2, current length with a point and new length. Or your mirror command. The mirror command will create with the mirror image, select with the image object with the mirror line with the issue of the command, will go to Home tab, modify the panel, select with the mirror button. You'll see with the following, select the object, select with the first point with the mirror and second point with the mirror line, and erase the source object, yes or no. After select with the object, specify the mirror line, specify the 2 points. You don't need to draw the line to be able to specify these 2 points. The last point will ask you to keep the delete with the original objects. Text can be part of the selection to be set with the mirror, but you can tell with the Autocad what to do with it and copy the mirroring it. Even the system's mirror text. To issue this command, type of the command window, you'll see the following. Enter for the mirror text, MIR text 0. You can input either 1, which means the mirror text will just look like the other objects, or 0, which means a copy of the text, and see the following example. Alright, your stretch command. The command will change the length of the selected object by stretching either the distance, the angle with the issue with this command with the Home tab, locate with the modify panel with the select with the stretch button. Select with the object stretch cross window with the crossing polygon. Select with the object's base point with the displacement with the second point with the use of the first plate with the displacement. Sketch command with a different compared with the other modifying commands because they ask you to select with the object desired with the crossing or cross polygon mode. Why? Because Sketch will utilize with both the cross and cross polygons, which are containing and crossing all objects contained fully inside with the crossing and cross polygon will be moving wherever the object crosses. Will be sketching either way with increasing and decreasing length. You should then specify with the base point with the same principle to move and the copy commands and finally space to specify the second point. See the following example. Selecting object cross and cross polygon, selected base point, specify the distance and the angle. And that's practice. Alright, lengthening objects, you the command that you can add the length with the subtract length of the object, you with a different method to issue the command with the go to Home tab, locate, modify, select with the lengthen button. User will see the following prompt, select the object with the delta percent with the total of the dynamic. If you click the object, you will report with the current length with the U with the current length, U with the multiple methods of lengthening, shortening object, Autocad with the method of the call with the delta, which will allow with the U with the add or remove from the current length with a positive value with the means for the adding and negative value means for the subtracting. This is what you'll see with each U with the delta. Enter delta length and or angle. Second method, the percentage by U that will be added with the add or remove the length by specifying a percent with the current length with the add the length with the input the value greater than 100, remove the length the input value is less than 100. This is what you'll see if you choose the percentage option, enter percentage length. Alright, third method, the total, which if you will be able to input with the new length new total length of the object, the new value with the greater than current value of the length will be added to the object, but the otherwise the length will be removed. This is what you will see with each of the total options, specify the total length and angle with the fourth method of dynamic, which will increase the decrease the length dynamically. Use the mouse, you will see with the following prompt. Specify the new endpoint, you the length and shortening a single object using a single method per command. Joining object with the command is great. Command will help you to join line with the arcs to arcs and arcs to polyline and polylines. And the join command will help you do this all of the above in a simple, easy way. To issue the command, go to Home to modify the handle, select with the join button. Autocad will show the following prompts. Select the source of the object, multiple objects, join at once. Select the source, select the lines to join the source with the one joint line, join to the source. Both of the prompts to join a line with it may be different with the arc and polyline. There are some conditions with the join with the C. You can join lines, arc and polylines from a single polyline. The ends of the object should be connected with each other. Lines or arc or polylines are not connected to each of the connected group will be considered a single polyline. If you want to join lines to form a line, they should always be collinear. If you want joining arcs to form a single arc, they should always have the same center points. While joining arcs, there are some special prompt asking you for the intersection of creating a circle. But this is the only command will create a circle from an arc. Using grips to edit objects. Alright, grips are blue and square with the rectangles appearing with a certain place for each of the objects. Enable you with the modifier of these objects with the 5 modifying commands for the select with the grip at the base point with a clever tool with a performing modifying tap with the faster without compromising the accuracy with the conventional modifying commands discussed above. Depending on the type of the object with the grips will appear with the different places, such as in the following illustration. Show with the line, curve, arc, polyline. By default, with the color of the grip, it's blue with a cold, but you can click on the turn of red hot, but depending on the object with the location of the grip, you can click and you can see with the modifying command that is shared with the one over the thing over the base point. For example, if you click on the grip at the end of the line, then the right click, you will see the following menu. Enter stretch length with the move, the rotate scale, the mirror, base point, copy, reference, undo, etc. You can see that these are 6 commands: strength, length, the move, the rotate scale, and mirror. These commands with extent, except the length and the share of the base point. Thus, in the consider of the first point with a mirror line equivalent to the base point with a copy of there is a mode, not a command, which is mean that will work in other commands. Holding shift while selecting a grip will enable you to select more than one base point. Holding control specifying a second point, move within stretch rotational angle that will specify the scale factor, and second point with a mirror will allow Autocad to remember the last input, repeat it, and graphically the base point option will enable you to select another base point other than the grip selected. For example, selecting the following shape of the 2 polylines. Clicking the upper right corner to make the hot right, click the X of the menu bar, select with the rotate command. Now you can rotate 2 shape of the round with the grip that will be considered with your base point with the right click again and select with the base point option to select with another base point with which will stand with the 2 rectangles object snap and O track. Right click again, select with the copy option with the copy while rotating using the polar tracking specified with a 90-degree and then exit will go the following result. Specify with the object polyline show more than blue square, but then you will show with the rectangle with the midpoint to each line with the arc segment with the rectangle with the midpoint with the polyline with a multiple function depending on whether the line segment or arc segment. Autocad will show with a different menu. Go to the grip and stay with the second with the don't clip, but then you will see with something like the following. At stretch, add vertices or add vertices. As you can see, you can stretch the line segment and add a vertex and convert a line to an arc and convert an arc to a line. While a double done on a grip, click escape to once and twice depending on the situation you are to end the grips mode. Grips and dynamic input. If you stay in one of the grips without clicking dynamic input along with the grips, it will give you the information about the selected object based on their type. Check the following example. You have the line of one of the endpoints. You'll see with the length of the angle of the width for the east of the long and the 2 commands stretch and segments length. 2 connecting lines will show the 2 lengths of the angle. Midpoint of the arc will show the radius for the include with the angle line 2 with the command stretch radius. However, the endpoints of the arc will show the radius from the angle with the east along with the stretch length of the commands. As for the circle, you will see with the radius only. Shared endpoints for the 2 segments of the polyline show the lengths of the shared lines along with the shortcut menu, which include stretch vertex and remove vertex. Grips and perpendicular tangent object snaps. Using grips they specify with the perpendicular tangent objects and bearing on the mind that these 2 settings are turned on and running object snap. The check for the following 2 example: the tangent example, perpendicular to example, and then these 2 examples. Skipping the practices and the review and the answers. Moving on to Chapter 4, Command Part, Modifying Commands Part 2.